Hello, Westclox lovers from all over the world and YouTube specifically, and welcome to the final part, which I believe is part 10 of the rebuild project of this clock. And if you read in the description for part 9, the camera ran out at the end, and you didn't get to see me put the clock back in the case, and it's really no big deal to do that. You saw me removing the outer case, and the installation process was basically the reverse. I took the dial glass and laid it on the dial first, and then supported the clock from underneath, and then lowered this down on top of it, and then pressed everything together while tightening the screws up to maintain the correct tension on the dial. And if we listen to the alarm, I want to make sure it's wound up all the way, you'll agree it's a very polite clock. I've brought out the rest of the Style 4s that I have in my collection to welcome this clock back into the land of running clocks. It's been almost 24 hours since I cased this clock up and set it to running, and since I touched the time setting knob on the back, and the other clocks are all showing the current time, and this clock is showing the time that it is operating at. And if you remember from part 8, which was the last part in which you saw the movement, and feel free to go back to that part, you saw that the regulator was standing straight up and down in the middle, and I was using a brand new hairspring, and it's pinned in exactly the correct position. And the clock is running a little bit fast. After about an 8-hour period, the clock had gained 2 minutes. And my personal standard for an alarm clock that I'm going to use, I prefer them to gain time. And generally somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 3 minutes per 8 hours is what I like to adjust my alarm clocks that I'm going to use to keep time. Because when I wind them, when I go to bed, I'm gonna correct them to the current time, and as they run, if they gain a little bit and the alarm goes off just a little early, it doesn't bother me at all. It's more annoying if the alarm goes off and the clock is 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes slow. Obviously, 5 minutes slow is a lot worse than 2 minutes slow, but in setting one of these up, I prefer that they gain time a little bit. Now, if I was repairing this clock for somebody else, I would probably want to keep time exact, maybe up to a minute a day of gain. I'd rather an alarm clock gain time than lose time. Because if someone's not paying attention and just winding it up, I'd rather it be getting a little bit ahead each time than losing. Because that's very annoying to be woken up late when you lose that time. And so I'm probably not going to do anything with the adjustment on this. If I did, I would just move it very slightly, maybe half the width of the regulating handle over towards the slow, and let it run another 24 hours and see what it does. If I could get it closer to maybe a gain of 2 minutes a day. I think a gain of about 2 minutes a day is ideal. A gain of about 4 or 5 minutes a day is something I am definitely not going to lose sleep over on an alarm clock that I'm going to use. Because, like I said, over a course of 8 hours, that is going to be a minute or two of gain. You might have your own standard for an alarm clock that you're using. When I was using the Seth Thomas long alarm clock, I've been using this clock here for the last couple months now. I had it set to where it gained, and it's a pendulum regulated clock. I had it set to where it was gaining darn near 5 or 6 minutes a day, and I would set it back every a minute or two every so often. Once every couple of days or something. But I liked it being a little ahead because I knew that there wasn't going to be any possibility that wasn't going to get up on time or get up late. That's sort of just my personal preference. If you might have your own personal preferences, you might prefer the clock run right on time, and that's fine. But I'd rather the clock run on time or a little fast than slow. And sometimes it suits me if it runs a little faster, and that's just sort of the way I set it up. So I'm probably not going to do much, and I might swap this one in place of this one for a while and run it. We'll just see, but I've got the rest of the clocks out here. Before I started this series, I did a slow motion video of 2 clock movements running that I had cleaned in the little clear plastic drawer. I was using one of those as a test stand. And this clock here is the amazing clock whose movement ran so beautifully in that slow motion video. And when you run it and let it run till it winds down entirely and you grab hold of that key, it feels like someone has let the winding key down with a let-down key when the clock has stopped running. That is absolutely perfect. I haven't allowed this one to run down yet to see what it's going to do, but since I made the tweaks, put the new hairspring in and made the tweaks, and the balance motion is extremely good. I wish I'd gone ahead and done a slow motion video of the balance on this before putting it back together, but unfortunately space on the memory and the camera prohibited that because I can't always get the videos uploaded quickly enough. I would really like to see slow motion of what the motion on the balance on this clock is like. So I have the feeling it's perfect. This one here is definitely perfect, and in fact it's almost too much because just the added torque of advancing the minute hand forward causes the impulse pin to swing back too far and hit the lever on the back side, which is not generally good. But it's amazing how much torque is getting to the escape wheel on this thing. Everything is in such nice condition on this clock. And this is my only really nice looking luminous dial, Style 4. It's a Style 4 chime alarm, and it really does have a very nice luminous dial on it. I really do enjoy using this clock, and it has a very beautiful gong on the back. I know this is not likely original, but it has a very lovely appearance to it. I would hate to do anything to that. Just a little bit of wear to the ivory paint, but I think if I was to try to clean this a little bit, it might look just a little bit better, but it has just the right amount of what would be termed busage that I don't want to do anything to it. So these 2 clocks are definitely very nice. And then we've got this baby bin here. Somebody unfortunately has stripped the black paint off of the outer case, but it's still a nice looking clock. I really do like the Style 4s better than the Style 5s and Style 6s. I just think they look better. They were the last sort of the line, where, with the screws where you just loosen the screw off and then it, comes out. and they're sort of the last of the sort of traditionally styled Big Ben clocks. And I'm almost afraid embarrassed to show this one off. This one here, I bought it. It has a very amateurish attempt from somebody at trying to repaint the numerals on it. I'm on the lookout for a nicer dial, or just a nicer example of this model in general. But it is a good running clock. I've had it for a very long time. This was my first Style 4. And then this clock had no glass when I bought it. I bought this clock for the dial to go on this one, but I decided this clock is going to eventually get restored, and I'll just find a new dial for this one. Anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope you were able to learn something from it. Hopefully we'll do another Westclox series on a clock where I can actually repair a hairspring. We'll just see. It just depends on the condition of what I get into, and how things go during the progress of a repair job. I hope this video has helped you out with any problems you might be having on one of your Westclox jobs. And doing a chime alarm movement does kind of kill two birds with one stone, because so much in the chime alarm movement is in common with the 2-key Baby Ben movements, that there's a lot that you can learn doing one of these that applies to one of these. As I said, quite a few of the wheels on the time side, quite a bit of the time side above the center arbor interchanges with these movements. So, Oklahoma Bridges here, and thank you for following along on this series, and as always, thank you for watching. See you on the next video.